want to go for a ride up to Lookout, Jono?
Yeah, sure. That's a good ride. I haven't been up there since Chloe's accident.
How about a race, first to the top?
I'm up for that, as long as you don't mind coming second, Jack.
Haha, you think you're faster than me up that hill? You better get your skates on, Jono. I will have had time for a long rest and a cool drink by the time you join me at the Lookout.
You're on, Jack. Go!
Wait, what? That's not fair. Hang on.
Nah, you gotta catch me.
I didn't even know that I was needing rescue. The threats and the dangers I couldn't see, I was heading right to. I needed help, but I didn't know. Needed saving from an evil foe. But I didn't even know that I was needing rescue.
How are you going back there, Jack?
I'd be right ahead of you if you hadn't cheated at the start.
Being a sore loser. Are we now, Jack? Once we reach the top, let's ride home past the park. It's a bit longer that way. Unless your legs are too tired, of course.
Yeah, okay. I will have caught you by then. It's such a lovely afternoon, Mel.
Yeah, it was a great idea to meet here and read some more of that story we have been looking at.
Did you bring your book, the Bible?
Oh no, I didn't. It's probably still at home.
Mine's at home too.
Oi, what are you girls doing sitting on my bench?
Your bench?
Yeah, my park, my bench. So get off.
This is not your park, and this is not your bench, Kade. We can sit here if we like.
Yeah, let's go, Allie. Maybe Kade can sit on the bench all by himself and have a little bit of a think about how he can be nicer to people.
Yeah, let's go. It's not as nice here as it was a few moments ago.
Come back to my place, Allie. We can read there. Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mrs. King.
Hello, girls.
We are home early because, first of all, we forgot to take the book we were going to read.
And then Kade told us to get off the park bench we were sitting on because apparently he owns the park and the bench.
Because we were sitting on it, he ordered us off.
So we just left him there.
Kade seems to be making many poor choices lately. Hopefully he will learn how to treat people nicely one day. It is not a good pathway he is currently choosing.
Anyways, Allie, let's have a look at the story about what happened in Egypt with Pharaoh and the Israelites. I actually want to know if Pharaoh listened to Moses and let the Israelites leave Egypt so that they could get back to the land that God had promised them.
The Israelites were sad and miserable, living as slaves in the land of Egypt. Their Egyptian masters were mean and cruel to them and made them work very hard, beating them, whipping them to make them work harder. God saw how bad things were for his people. So he sent Moses and Aaron to ask Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, to let his people go. Moses told Aaron to throw his staff onto the ground. Immediately, it turned into a snake. Pharaoh's wise men and magicians used their trickery to turn their rods to become snakes also. But Aaron's snake rod ate up all of theirs. Pharaoh's heart became hard, and he refused to let the Israelites go, making them work even harder. The Egyptians did not worship the one true God. Instead, they worshipped their idols. Pharaoh thought they protected him and his country. One of the gods the Egyptians worshipped was the river god Happy. The Egyptians got their water for drinking, cooking, bathing, and growing their crops from the Nile River, which flowed through the land of Egypt. One morning, Moses and Aaron went to the Nile River, where Pharaoh was, and gave him a message from God. Because you did not let my people go, when Aaron strikes the water of the Nile with this rod, this river will turn to blood. The fish will die, the river will stink, and all the water in Egypt will turn to blood. This was the first plague. But Pharaoh hardened his heart and refused to let the Israelites go. Then God sent a second plague to the land of Egypt, a plague of frogs. They were everywhere. In their beds, in their ovens, in their cooking bowls. Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron back and begged them to take the frogs away, saying he would let the people go. Moses prayed to God, and the frogs died. But when the Pharaoh saw that the frogs were dead, he changed his mind and did not let the Israelites go. This was the second plague. Next, God told Moses to get Aaron to stretch out his staff and strike the dust on the ground. When he did this, all the dust throughout the land of Egypt became gnats. The gnats covered the people, they covered the animals, they drove everyone crazy. This was the third plague, but Pharaoh still did not let the Israelites go. God again spoke to Moses, "Tell Pharaoh that if he will not let my people go, tomorrow I will send swarms of flies right throughout the land of Egypt, except for Goshen, where the Israelites live." Pharaoh begged Moses to get rid of the flies, but still he did not let the Israelites go. This was the fourth plague. Then there was a terrible plague on all the livestock, and they died. But the livestock of the Israelites in Goshen did not die. Pharaoh still hardened his heart. This was the fifth plague. The sixth plague was when Moses took a handful of soot from the furnace and threw it into the air. Painful boils broke out on the people and animals right throughout Egypt, but not where the Israelites lived. But Pharaoh still hardened his heart and refused to let the Israelites go. Then Moses warned Pharaoh that there would be a terrible hailstorm and any person or animal who was not under shelter would die. Those who believed in God stayed under shelter, but those who did not and ignored the word of the Lord lost whatever was left in their fields. It was the worst storm they had ever had in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh still hardened his heart. This was the seventh plague. Moses went again to Pharaoh and warned that the next day locusts would come into the country and eat anything that was left in the fields, including every tree. The locusts would also fill the houses of the Egyptians. This was the eighth plague, but still, Pharaoh did not let the Israelites go. Then there was the ninth plague. Moses stretched his hands toward the sky, and darkness fell across the land of Egypt. For 3 days it was dark, except for where the Israelites lived. Pharaoh still hardened his heart and would not let the people go. So then came the 10th plague. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on the throne, to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, firstborn of all the livestock as well. Pharaoh and his officials and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was a loud cry in Egypt, for there was not a house without someone dead. But the Israelites, and also any of the Egyptians who had listened to and followed God's instructions, were spared. Finally, Pharaoh told Moses that the Israelites and all that they had could leave Egypt.
That was very interesting, girls.
Pharaoh was pretty stubborn.
Yeah, 10 plagues before he let the Israelites go.
Pharaoh was sure very stubborn.
Very stubborn.
He didn't want to let God's people go.
No, he didn't.
God had to try so very many times, but Pharaoh just kept saying no.
Saying no.
Pharaoh was sure very stubborn.
Very stubborn.
He didn't want to let God's people go.
No, he didn't.
God had to try so very many times, but Pharaoh just kept saying no.
Saying no.
Pharaoh kept saying no, he didn't understand until the 10 plagues had hit the land.
So let us not also be so stubborn.
No way.
If God is telling us something too,
That's for sure.
we need to listen and obey to what God has to say and not learn our lesson the hard way. So let us not also be so stubborn.
No way.
If God is telling us something too,
That's for sure.
we need to listen and obey to what God has to say and not learn our lesson the hard way. So follow God's plan and make sure you understand that God's way's the best way to go. We need to follow God's plan and make sure we understand that God's way's the best way to go. We need to follow God's plan and make sure we understand that God's way's the best way to go.
You know, girls, I think that this story has been showing us more about God's rescue plan and the struggle between good and evil.
Yeah, that's what we read today with Mrs. Jones in the library. She has a new book called The Rescue.
And it said something about God having to intervene to get them out of Egypt so that he could keep his rescue plan on track.
Yeah, I think that was because the rescuer was gonna come to Earth through his family.
And didn't it also say something about Satan doing everything he could to stop this from happening?
Yeah, it did. Because Mum, Pharaoh even tried to have all of the Israelite baby boys killed. God had to protect baby Moses.
Because Moses was going to become the leader of the Israelites.
I'm impressed, girls. Sounds like you have learnt lots about this story.
That's the funniest sight I've seen in a long time.
My sides are hurting from laughing.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke.
What's so funny, you guys?
We just had a race up to the lookout.
Yeah, can I just say I won, by the way?
This time, Jono. Anyway, on our way back, we rode past the park.
And there, sitting all by himself, on the park bench was Kade.
And then...
Anyway, there must have been a wasp's nest under the bench. Kade was swinging his legs, and I think he must have broken their nest, which upset the wasps.
So the next thing we saw was Kade yelling at the top of his lungs, being chased by these wasps.
And you know the swamp near the park? Well, Kade must have figured that the wasp would stop chasing him if he went into some water.
But there wasn't water, it was mud.
So he threw himself into the swamp. And you should have seen him when he came out.
Poor Kade. He asked him if he needed help.
But he told us really clearly to leave.
So we did.
It does sound funny. But poor Kade. I think we should thank him for protecting us, Allie.
Yeah, because we were sitting on that bench in the park and he ordered us off, saying it was his park and his bench.
And to think that there was a wasp's hornet's nest under the bench the whole time?
Kade got what he wanted, the park bench all to himself.
Actually, he kicked us off the bench, and then the wasps chased him off the bench.
Kade is pretty stubborn, and he doesn't like to accept help, but he also doesn't like to change his ways. And this time the consequences to his actions came pretty quickly.
From an unexpected source.
Speaking of being stubborn, we were just looking at the story of the plagues in Egypt.
I know that story. When Pharaoh would not let the Israelites leave.
Oh, yeah, he was very stubborn. It took 10 plagues of terrible things before he would let them go.
Do you think Kade will be as stubborn as the Pharaoh? What will it take for him to make better choices?
When something goes wrong during the day, how do you react? What do you say if you make the same mistake? Time after time, it might be time to listen and to follow wise advice. So try to learn every day. Listen to others, hear what they say. Try to find the reason things have not gone right, and change what you were doing, follow good and wise advice. When something goes wrong during the day, how do you react? What do you say if you make the same mistake? Time after time, it might be time to listen and to follow wise advice. So try to learn every day. Listen to others, hear what they say. Try to find the reason things have not gone right, and change what you were doing, follow good and wise advice. So try to learn every day. Listen to others, hear what they say. Try to find the reason things have not gone right, and change what you were doing, follow good and wise advice. Try to find the reason things have not gone right, and change what you were doing, follow good and wise advice.
Follow wise advice. I must say, I think from personal experience, I agree with that.
I hope Kade will be able to follow wise advice.
Maybe he'll learn a lesson from the wasps today.
I don't know if he is as stubborn as Pharaoh. Maybe it would take like 9 more things to change him.
You mean Kade's 10 plagues? 1 down, 9 more to go.
Poor Kade. I do hope and pray that this is not the case for him. God loves Kade and wants to rescue him too, even if Kade doesn't know it yet.
He sure needs saving from the evil foe, Satan.
I think we all do, Jack. Because as my dad always tells me, we need to remember we are actually in the middle of a battle at the moment. The battle between good and evil.
We sure do need rescuing, Jono. Everywhere we look around us, we can see evidence of this struggle between good and evil.
So Satan is attacking and trying to stop God's rescue plan?
I would really like to find out more about the rescuer in God's plan, the one who was sent to save us. I like the sound of being rescued.
Me too. Hey, I need to go, guys. I promised my dad I wouldn't be out too late today.
I'll open the gate for you.
Make sure you shut it too. We don't want Scruffy getting out.
Hello, Kelly.
Hi, Joe.
So, what's new over here in the library? I don't get here as often as I like. Life is pretty busy.
Yes, I can relate. Between classes and keeping up with marking, chasing late books, and of course, getting the new books ready for borrowing.
Speaking of new books, The Rescue. I don't think I've seen that book before.
It's one of our new ones. I just put it up on display today.
Looks intriguing.
It's been generating quite a bit of interest already.
There is a book that is more important than any other book, ever. So we will call it The Book. In this book, you will find the story of the greatest rescue plan ever. Now that has got me interested. When can I borrow this one, Kelly?
I can put you on the list, Joe. There are a few interested parties ahead of you.
Okay, I'm happy to wait my turn.
Yes, Joe, you are so right. The battle between good and evil is very real. I want everyone to have the chance to know of my love for them and the plan that I have to save them. So many people don't even know that they are in need of rescue. There are threats and dangers all around that they are heading right towards. My plan is available to all to save them, but they need to know about it.
Mel, have you fed Scruffy today?
Not yet, Mum. I was going to feed him just before we had dinner.
Okay, but don't forget.
Scruffy won't let us forget. He'll be scratching at the door telling us he is hungry.
Speaking of Scruffy, it is unusual that he is not scratching at the door already. I wonder...
What was that?
That didn't sound good. Jack, did you shut the gate properly?
Oh no, the gate is open! Scruffy!
The threats and the dangers I couldn't see, I was heading right to. I needed help, but I didn't know. Needed saving from an evil foe. But I didn't even know that I was needing rescue. Needing rescue.
I need